Hey guys, welcome to episode 9 of Momsley Podcast.
Welcome back. We're your hosts. I'm Krishel.
And I'm Nyamekye.
All right. So how has your week been?
This week has actually been pretty good. The kids are visiting their grandmother, so my house is quiet. I got to clean my living room, and I went under the couch, and there was treasures waiting for me. And I got to sit down in my living room after it was all clean and watch TV, and it was
enjoy
just the best feeling ever. Yes, it's been 2 days of me enjoying a clean living room.
Mom life.
Right. The little things that make us excited.
I know, right?
What about you?
My week's been a little trying. It's been real crazy out in these streets at work and stuff with the pandemic and everything. This new wave that we're going through right now, it's been a little crazy. So I'm just trying to deep breath, one day at a time. But yeah.
You made it through last year. You'll make it through this one.
I know, right? But yeah, can't complain. All right. So on that note, let's go ahead and get into our Would You Rather. I feel like we need theme music for that, for our Would You Rather segment.
We have to come up with something.
I know, right? Okay, so Would You Rather. Today's Would You Rather. Would you rather find true love today, or would you rather win the lottery next year? So, if you find true love, you can only spend 1 year with that person. And once you hit that 365, bye-bye. And if you choose to wait till next year to win your money, you're not allowed to save any money. That money that you get will have to be spent within 6 months. And there's a daily spend limit of $1,000.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't really care about finding true love because I'm getting married, so clearly that's not for me.
That's your true love.
Exactly. I already found it. Don't need to find one that's only going to be here temporarily. Okay? So I'm going to take my lottery and I'm going to wait that year for my lottery winnings. And I'm quite okay with not saving any of it and only being able to spend $1,000 a day. $1,000 a day times 7, that's $7,000 a week. You know what I could do with that?
Oh my God.
I'll have me a house. I'll have me my car. $1,000 a day? Do you see these prices that I'm getting quoted from vendors? Like, y'all be walking into like Disney World Part 3 at my wedding.
Oh my gosh.
What about you? What would you do?
Well, me, so on a regular day, I would probably say find true love. Because, money, as you can see, based on this Would You Rather, it come and go. After that 6 months, it's a wrap. But,
right.
However, just like I was talking about, this the wave we going through. If I find true love today, he might catch COVID tomorrow and be out of here. So I'm gonna take that money next year. I can stay in the house for a year and make sure I don't, get sick or catch nothing myself, me personally. Okay, I could take I could make it to next year. Okay, I'm gonna take that money. I'm gonna take that money.
I hear that.
I feel like the Would You Rathers that have been monetary, I've always chosen the money. I'm not a materialistic type of person, but also I'm gonna take that money.
If it's free money, I'm taking it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
If it's free, it's for me.
All right. So what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about this new thing called cancel culture. If you haven't heard about it, you probably don't spend a lot of time on social media. And honestly, I don't know how you found this podcast if you haven't heard about, if you're not on social media and you haven't heard about cancel culture. We're not canceled, but we're on social media.
Right.
So, if you haven't heard about it, I can tell you what cancel culture is. So, according to the Googles, cancel culture is also known as call out culture, and it's kind of a modern form of ostracism in which someone is thrust out of social or professional circles. It could be online, on social media, or in person. So the expression cancel culture has mostly a negative connotation and is commonly used in debates on free speech and censorship. Because most times when you get canceled is because you said something wild and people not here for it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna be trending in all the socials.
Right. You're gonna be the baby part 2.
Right. Right.
So how do you feel about the whole cancel culture thing? Like, do you think it should be a thing? Do you think it shouldn't be a thing? Do you think it really is a thing?
I think, okay, first let me say, when cancel culture started getting like really popular, I feel like everybody was on board with it. Everybody was like, he did what? She did what? They said what? They were like, cancel. Everybody was like, cancel, cancel. But then I feel like when their favorites started getting canceled, then they were like, all right, hold up. Y'all going crazy with this cancel culture thing, right?
Right.
But now, personally for me, I feel like cancel culture is good because I feel like cancel culture holds people accountable. That's not to say, though, that if a few people get together and be like, all right, we're canceling this person, that don't mean that you just jump on board because that's their opinion. And even if it's the majority, that doesn't mean you have to jump on board with that. But also, I feel like it's good for holding people accountable. You can't be out here just saying whatever you want to say. You're allowed to have opinions, yes, right? But that doesn't mean you get to walk around hurting people's feelings. That doesn't mean you get to walk around causing physical harm to people, sexual harm to people. Like, that's not okay. Like, you're going to get called out on it. I don't care if it was yesterday, last week, last month, last year. I don't care if it was 10 years ago. If it's affecting somebody today, it's affecting somebody today. That, you still go, if it's a legal situation, go through, have your trial, say your piece. If you feel like you want to defend yourself, But let's hold people accountable. That's what I have to say about that. What about you?
Cancel culture, I can agree with you. Cancel culture does hold people accountable. And I'm strong on, you could say what you want to say, but it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Although sometimes it is what you say, regardless of how you say it. Because some of these people that's getting canceled, they're getting canceled because they're racist as shit.
Right.
And we not here for that. So I definitely think that it holds people accountable, and it forces people to be more, I guess, censored of what they say outside of their home. Because I don't give a shit what you do in your house. You could say what you want to say. You could not like me. You could like me. You could not like a certain group of people. You could like them and pretend to not like them when you come outside. Whatever the popular culture is to do that day. But once it leaves your house, it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely something that's holding people accountable.
Yeah.
And I feel like cancel culture is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
I think
it's
so
the new
too.
thing.
I think so too. Yeah. And that's not even to say, like, I do feel like some people abuse it. Like, some people, like, if I be like, oh, I don't like people who wear brown hair or brown wigs. That doesn't mean go cancel me because I said that's my opinion. And if you want to wear a brown wig, you can wear a brown wig. But I feel like when it gets deeper into personal issues and things like that, like, don't make sure it's not something where it's like, oh, that wasn't directed towards me, but I'm gonna take it towards me because you don't like something. We don't have to always agree on things. But when you're out here trying to cause harm, whichever way that may be to people, now we got a problem. And
see, my whole thing with, like, this whole cancel culture thing, when it's when it comes to canceling people based on something that they may have said because they don't agree with a certain person's lifestyle or a certain person's whatever, is like, when does it become a problem to voice your opinion against what a certain group of people are doing that you don't agree with because that's not your lifestyle? Like how did that become such a problem that now people are being canceled because of it?
Yeah.
Like, is it because of the way they're saying it, or are we trying to force people to accept everything?
Yeah, that's
I don't know
why
if I'm making
said,
sense.
no, I get what you're saying. That's why I was saying, like, make sure that we're not just jumping on the bandwagon because that's the majority of what people feel at that moment in time, right? So, like,
Right.
I feel like people should still be able to have their own opinion, but you also have to know, like, depends on what that opinion is. If you choose to voice it publicly, you may have consequences behind it, especially if you're a public figure, and especially if you're representing a face or a company that doesn't believe the same opinions that you feel like you have to go out there and voice.
That's true. That's true. I can see that. I lost my train of thought.
I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah.
Well, while
Okay,
you're
whatever.
thinking, let me give you an example of when you should keep your opinion to yourself. Okay, so we've talked about this before. I work in the health field. I'm a nurse, and as you know, I think this is pretty much across the whole country for healthcare facilities. Regardless of what phase of the pandemic we're in, you're still required to wear a mask inside of the healthcare facility. Regardless of what your mayor said, regardless of what your governor said, regardless of what your president said. Inside of these private healthcare facilities, you have to follow their rules. So people, this is a real controversial topic when it comes to like people's political views and things like that or whatever. For whatever reason, people feel like when they come into my healthcare facility, whether they're following the rules or not, they could be having a mask on, they could not, but they feel like they have to verbally assault people working there that's following the rules if it's against their political belief or whatever it is. Like, people literally, and it's not just like, oh, it was one person. It's something that happens every day. People will walk into our facility and be like, y'all are so dumb. This is stupid. I have rights. I want to do this. I want to do that. That's your opinion. You can feel that way. But guess what? Feel that way at home. Go vent and rage. Do whatever you want to do. But I have rules that I have to follow, and you have rules that you have to follow when you're in this facility. And guess what? If you want to escalate that and now you're trying to get in people's face and yell about what your political beliefs are and what your rights are, now there's going to be consequences, and you're going to be banned from the campus because guess what? Now you're being abusive. You cannot do that.
Right.
Have your opinion. Feel how you want to feel. But know that if you don't follow the rules outside of your house, there's going to be consequences. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. I agree with you.
It's not a case of you can't have your opinion. Have your opinion, but just know there's time and place for everything.
And that's all I've been trying to get at. Like, you can say what you want to say in your house, do what you want to do in your house, but when you step out into your house, you gotta realize that the same rules that are in your house are not outside. Like, you could see somebody walking down the street and not like them for whatever reason, but just know that if you say or do something to that person has every right to retaliate however they feel they please.
Tis true.
And you just gotta deal with it because you're not at home no more, boo-boo.
Exactly.
And I feel like people definitely need to be mindful of what they say if it's going to cause, like, a group of people, like, if it's going to put a group of people in danger. Like, I agree with cancel culture when it comes to that also, because for instance, when Trump was president and he was going on and on about people from Mexico and people from their shithole countries when he was talking about people from third world countries and stuff like that. Like, saying stuff like that in public can put people's lives at risk, because so many people you would see on the news were being attacked because they were Chinese, and people were trying to say, oh, well, you brought the coronavirus over here, and it was like a whole thing. Yeah. And it's like, you can't go around saying things like that because you're literally putting people's lives at risk.
Mm-hmm. And that goes back to when you're a social person, that an influencer, whether you're in government or whether you're just out here in entertainment, like when you have that following, you have to be extra careful. The consequences are going to be that much higher. When you say it. Exactly. Yep.
So I came up with a little listy list of people who were recently canceled.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, before I even get into that, like you touched on something earlier. I think you said something along the lines of like people wanting to cancel a certain person, but it's like you may not necessarily agree with that person like being canceled, but it's like you're like conflicted because people are canceling them because they might have did something that was wrong. But then it's like, for example, R. Kelly. This has been a debate since R. Kelly, the controversy with him and these women, these young girls came out. It was like, how do you separate R. Kelly, the musician, from R. Kelly, the person? Like, are we not supposed to listen to his music anymore because he's canceled? And like, I guess we're not supposed to support him because of the things that he did? Like, people are really torn out here. It's like, do you cancel people and just stop supporting their art? Or do you cancel them? It's like, okay, we don't watch their movies anymore. We don't listen to their music anymore. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think people, because another difference from when cancel culture first popped off versus now is people are like, it's not just like this broad thing. People are like, okay, well, now let's look at the reason you're being canceled. So in a situation like that where a musical artist is being canceled, his music is everywhere. His music are like anthems to people. But like me personally, the way I looked at it is, okay, is it possible to separate the person from the art? Well, in this situation, the art is a reflection of why he's being canceled. The things that he's talking about in his music reflects the stuff that he's being accused of. So in that situation, I feel like there is no separation because the art is what he's being canceled for. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like you just gotta, that's why you can't just jump on the bandwagon. You gotta like fill it out for yourself.
Okay, so let me get into my listy list of people that I found that are currently canceled. Okay. There's a guy by a name of Morgan Wallen. He's a country star, and I guess he went on a racist rant in front of his house. And I saw the video actually when it happened, and a video leaked, and because of the things that were said in the video, he's canceled. Some guy named Shane Dawson, he's a YouTuber, I guess, that wore blackface, and like some video surfaced of him from like a while back. So I guess he's canceled. Leah Michelle is canceled for posting a tweet in support of Black Lives Matter, but then one of her co-stars from Glee called her out on her BS for like how she really acts in real life. So she's canceled apparently. Ellen DeGeneres is canceled because apparently she can't be kind. We got R. Kelly. We got Miss Chrissy Teigen herself, who's canceled. That one's my favorite because homegirl was on Twitter, or on, I think it was Twitter, a couple of weeks ago, and was basically crying about how she can't post on the interwebs anymore because she's canceled. Girl, bye. Go read a book. The Baby, Matt Damon, Demi Lovato, and Justin Timberlake. There's a lot more, but that's like the 10 that I grabbed.
What happened with Demi Lovato? I missed that one.
I actually don't know. I feel like she might have said something. Is this really a reason to be canceled? Is she really canceled?
I'm sure somebody canceled her.
Okay, so I'm going to read what the article says. It says Demi Lovato has had quite a year with new music, revelations regarding their identity, and heavy opinions on frozen yogurt. Demi has been very busy. Well, when it came to a visit to a froyo spot in Los Angeles, they felt promoted diet culture with certain names of their products. Demi called out the frozen yogurt shop online, seemingly leaving fans to attack the froyo spot. Demi later issues an apology. However, that wasn't until millions of messages poured in regarding their use of their platform and how easily Demi could have ruined someone's business over a trigger that is no one's responsibility but their own.
So it's about diet culture.
So Demi Lovato, in case you didn't know, she suffered with like an eating disorder. And so I guess when she went into this froyo place, from what I just read and understand, they named some of their products some names that were triggering to her and I guess her eating disorder. So she called them out online and then people started attacking the froyo spot. But then she doubled back and like apologized. But then people were saying like at this point, like she could have ruined somebody's business over something that was triggering to her.
Interesting.
So that's why she's canceled, apparently. Because she didn't realize that she's Demi Lovato with, millions of followers, and she can't just go online attacking somebody's business because she's triggered.
And just what we were talking about, when you have a higher social status, the impact hit different.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Gotta be mindful of what you say and when you say it and how you say it. Because she could have that's somebody's livelihood, and because she posted one tweet, like that could have been it. That person would have been on the unemployment line.
For real. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of cancel culture does not only have a reach to people in entertainment, it can have a reach anywhere, even the government. Mm-hmm. So, up in New York, Mr. Andrew Cuomo has resigned. After he said he wasn't going to resign. But with cancel culture, when people are passionate enough, they put more pressure on until they get what they want. Mm-hmm. They applied the pressure, and he was like, y'all got it, I'm going to step down. So, he had allegations towards him for sexual assault claims. And when these claims started to come out, he denied it. And I don't necessarily know if he's ever actually admitted to it, even though he's resigning. But I guess he's just looking at it as one of those situations as it's just in the best interest, because this is not something that's going to go away. And he's not going to be able to function like normal, like he did before these claims came out. So he's made the decision to resign. Now, his brother, Chris, who works as a journalist for the news, he's made a statement saying that he told his brother, which I'm not here to say whether that this actually was the conversation or not, but he made a statement regarding him saying that he told his brother that because Andrew said that even though some of these things may have generally been true, his intentions weren't to be sexually assaulting people, and that he's just a friendly person and he's just like a physical touch type of person. So his brother told him,
how could you be a friendly physical touch kind of person when people are saying that you put your hands on their private parts? That's a little bit too friendly for me. That's the kind of friends you are. I don't need you as a friend.
I'm just reporting the news, girl. I wasn't there. And, again, if that could be his perception, like if you giving me a good vibe, then I could touch you anywhere. That's his perception. But according to his brother, he told him, like, regardless of what you were intending, regardless of what you thought was okay, the impact on that person is what matters. So if you sitting there rubbing somebody's shoulder, touching somebody's private parts, the impact on them the result of that is what matters. And these women are saying they didn't welcome it, they didn't ask for it. Therefore, the impact on them was not a good one. They were not feeling they didn't walk away feeling like, oh, he's a friendly person. They felt violated.
And they're saying that he did this to current and former staffers, which is insane. But I feel like that's the problem with these older gentlemen. Like, they feel like this is still 1860 whatever when they were born. I'm just kidding. He's not that old. But he's up there in age to know better. He's 63 years old. And I feel like back when he was younger, it was not okay to be touching women like that. But cancel culture and the things that are happening today where women have a voice and it will be heard was not as prevalent back then. So they got away with that stuff. But one of the things that people were kind of talking about was the fact that, like, all these allegations are kind of sort of now coming to light because he at one point had announced that he was running for president in the next election. And it seems like to be a trend with cancel culture. When somebody announces that they're about to make a big move, stuff starts to come out about them. And it's like, one side of the argument is like, why do people wait until, like, he's been in office for years. Like, at this point, I read an article, they're like, if he retires and lives to be 83, which is about 20 more years from now, he could be collecting $1 million in pension that taxpayers are going to be paying him from all the years that he's been in office in his political career. So it's like, is it like one person comes forward and then, like, that gives the courage for everybody else to want to come forward and speak on it? Like, I just need to know.
I don't know exactly what happened. That does seem to be the trend, but just looking at things from another perspective, I think maybe not everybody, but I feel like there probably were claims against him already, but one, it wasn't in the masses. It may have been like one here, one there, one here, one there. But especially with something when people do things like announce a bid for the presidency, people start digging. And then if something's already planted, then they're like, hold up. And then somebody might, sneak something out publicly. And then somebody else might see that and be like, hey, that same thing happened to me. So let me give my piece. And then if the other person's going to be like, well, shoot, just so they don't feel alone, that did happen to me. So I wasn't going to say nothing, but I'm not the only person that it happened to, so all right, I'm gonna say something.
Because I could get it. Because if you were, like, sexually assaulted or whatever by a person, you could feel like a sense of shame or embarrassment and not want to come forward and say anything. But once you realize, like, he's done this to multiple people and somebody's finally speaking up, you might be like, you know what? I'm done holding my tongue. Like, I'm gonna say what I have to say and get this off my chest so I can sleep better at night.
And especially, I could imagine, especially if they feel like, okay, I'm not in this by myself. Like, I'm going to have support if I come out. There's other people here that's in the same situation as me that they're supporting them. I'm going to have support too. So it's not, especially with someone of that caliber, someone that high in office, in a government office position, and someone so liked. He was a highly liked person in his position. It wasn't like everybody hated him. The people wanted him out. People actually liked him. So, yeah, I think all of those things play into it.
I read an article, and it was saying that he was, they have, like, a bunch of evidence that reveals that his team actually retaliated against one of the victims and created a toxic and hostile work environment for women in the executive chamber. So it's like people probably were scared to speak out about it because if he's creating a hostile environment, like, this is how I pay my bills. And in the political world, once all it takes is one powerful person to speak against you and you probably would never get a job in that environment again.
That's true, yeah.
So if he's creating hostile work environments for these women, they probably didn't feel like they had the support or a way to speak out about it.
Without it backfiring on them.
Right, because at the end of the day, like, they still need a job to pay their bills.
Yep. It's true.
Yeah, but I saw someone talking about, like, how great of a governor he was, and, like, they're kind of upset that, like, this sexual harassment scandal is going to kind of, like, be, like, his legacy, I guess, and not all the good things that he might have did for the state of New York.
That comes down to when you decide if you're able to separate the art or the work that he's done in government with the person that he is, or the things that he's done.
That is true. Well, he did it to himself, because you can't be mad of the legacy that you leave behind when this is what you chose to do.
Yeah. Yep.
If there's one thing about the human race, we're going to remember all the bad you did and not really the good that you did.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So once again, thank you guys for sticking with us for another episode here on Momsley Podcast. Before you go, we're going to leave you with this week's weekly mantra.
Yes. So our weekly mantra is, I forgive others. I forgive myself. I am free. One more time. I forgive others. I forgive myself. I am free. I feel like this mantra was kind of suited for this episode, because sometimes with everything that's going on in the world, like, you just got to let it go for your own peace of mind.
So true.
Yes. So if you guys want to stay updated on all things Momsley, make sure you're following us on Instagram at MomsleyPod. That's MOMSLYPOD.
And make sure you guys are following us on our YouTube channel at Momsley Podcast. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you know when we uploaded new content.
Yes. And please, make sure you guys leave us a rating and a review on your podcast app, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, and I forgot the other one, but you know which app you listen on. So if you can, leave us a rating and a review.
Yes, let us know what you guys think. We welcome your feedback, okay?
Yes.
So on that note, we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye. And cut.
Yes.